My name is Dr. Craig Cook, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Brain and Performance Center at DP World Company here in the vibrant city of Dubai. I was asked to come and speak to you today about autism awareness, about autism in all its forms. But quite honestly, I don't feel comfortable speaking about a scripted storyline. I feel more comfortable sharing a raw, real, and unfiltered experience about our family's journey with autism. You see, I'm not just the CEO of the Brain and Performance Center. I'm a father and a husband. I'm a father to a brilliant little boy who just happens to have autism. I have two other children, two girls that are also magnificent, and a wife that is the center of my world. But quite honestly, today, I'm going to share with you Xander's journey. So, Xander is now an 8-year-old little boy who has autism spectrum disorder. He has some other characteristics as well that are undiagnosed, but his autism spectrum journey started around 2 years old. I still remember it as if it was yesterday. My wife and I, we were living in Abu Dhabi. We had a daughter, and Xander was really unwell. He had a spiked fever and then went into febrile seizure. I remember it as if it was yesterday. He called the ambulance, and I was with him in the ambulance, racing to the hospital. It was something I'll never forget. He went through a battery of tests that night, the next day, and quite honestly, we were lost. They were unable to find anything. They just said that he had a high fever. And quite honestly, it was a really, really traumatic experience for him. 2-year-old little boy. A beautiful little man. And we were really, truly lost. So he was discharged several days later. We went through a variety of audio tests, a variety of other, let's say, too much. And you never know how much too much is, but a ridiculous amount of testing for a little boy. And they found nothing. We were referred to a pediatric neurologist who also just said, it was a febrile seizure, these things happen. And let's move on. Days, weeks, months, years passed. And things didn't go back to the way they were. He was then diagnosed as nonverbal autism, a label that has been stuck with him for quite a while. Now, if I share our journey, some parts of this are truly, truly magnificent, and some are really, really heartbreaking. And really, only parents of children with autism will truly understand. The meltdowns, the picky eating, the sensory processing challenges, the unable to have a haircut, brush your teeth, get changed, all of these things are really, really huge elements in Xander's day. So if I take you back to where we were as parents, my wife, she saw it off the bat. Straight away, she knew, and she got to a level of acceptance far before I did. I was in denial for a very long time. It will be okay. Everything will be okay. He'll grow out of it. But in all honesty, that was just me, unable to accept the diagnosis that Xander had been given and the path and the journey that he was about to embark. Not only as a little boy, but as someone growing up in the harsh world that we really live in. It's not about another YouTube video or Instagram reel that people will look at and say, you know what? Ah, it's just an influencer. This is real life for us. This is truly part of our journey and our story. And you know what? Our son, Xander, deserves the world. And he deserves the acceptance and the understanding, just like anyone else. Autism isn't a label. It's a superpower. It's a gift of doing things completely different to the way that others do in a neurotypical world. The journey, the vision, the view, the sensory processing is done completely differently. And our boy Xander is wired in a different way to you and to me. So fast forward several years on, Xander had gone through a variety of treatments, be it occupational therapy, ABA therapy, speech therapy, every type of treatment imaginable. We went to the ends of the earth and he went through assessment upon assessment upon assessment, trying to find ways that we could support him be the best version of himself. And you know what? Nothing seemed to work. My wife and I were frustrated. We didn't know how best to help. All the while, Xander having meltdowns and problems and complications. And we just didn't know how to support him. We didn't know how to help him. And quite honestly, at that stage, he didn't know how to help himself. So it was tough. We looked for schooling for him, ways in which he could be developing and growing as a little man every single day. And finding a school for a non-neurotypical person in the UAE that is currently non-verbal is not easy. There's not a great deal of choice. It's evolving, don't get me wrong, day by day, year by year, but it's not the easiest thing to go and find your son who happens to be currently non-verbal with ASD, a place for him to thrive and him to grow. And we did find a place in Abu Dhabi, and it's a journey. It's not a perfect solution, but it is a solution for now, and we will not stop until we find the best possible solution for our child. So fast forward again. I was working in a company that was very internationally focused. I traveled a lot. I was away from home a lot. And my wife, my rock, was taking care of our household and our 2 children at that stage. We had access, thankfully and gracefully, to the best possible treatment in the world. And we made that happen. Or so we thought at that stage. And then a phone call came in and a question was asked that changed our life for the better. The question was, would you be interested in running a brain health clinic in Dubai? Honestly, I didn't really know what that was. I had to come and do my research. I had to come and do my investigation. And when I came for the interview, I was blown away. The Brain and Performance Center is the largest hyperbaric oxygen therapy center in the world. But it's not just about hyperbarics. It's about neurocognitive evaluation. It's about occupational therapy. There's a full imaging suite with a Tesla 3 MRI. The advancements in modern medicine are huge. So I did my investigation. I did my research. I did the interviews. And I was gratefully gifted an opportunity to run and support this clinic, to lead the clinic. to be able to give back to children and to parents who truly need this care. So, I left the role that I was in and had been in for almost 8 years and joined the Brain and Performance Center. I continued to learn and grow, and my wife and I were curious to know, could this really support Xander in his journey? We met one of the head professors that was one of the hugest advocates for Xander's journey and the research behind certain forms of autism spectrum disorder and what hyperbaric oxygen therapy programs could do to regenerate and to increase the blood flow in areas of Xander's brain that truly needed it. So what we did then is we took the step and we enrolled Xander in the Brain and Performance Program for Youth. Now, it's a very extensive program. You go through 3 days of assessment that includes blood tests. It includes cognitive and neuropsychology evaluations. It includes a SPET scan. It includes an MRI of the brain, physical performance and dietitian assessments, genetic testing, and things of this nature. Once the physician has the results of this extensive 3-day assessment, then you meet and they show you the baseline of where your child truly is. And this is something we never experienced before as a family. It was the first time. And we saw things that we were shocked to see. Areas of inflammation in Xander's brain, areas that we were like, how do we not even know this before? The level of detail in this assessment was phenomenal. Now, we expected Xander to be enrolled immediately into the program and things would be just miraculously better. But that wasn't to be. Because of the inflammation that was showing in his SPECT and MRI scans of his brain, he had to go through further treatment. Now, that treatment looked like IVIG infusions once per month for the next 6 months. It was then, measuring his brain waves, measuring the inflammation, measuring his sleep cycles to ensure that he was safe to undergo further treatment. Because the inflammation in his brain was so severe, the team needed to ensure his safety whilst he went through the program. Then they retested him again, and the inflammation through these 6 rounds of intravenous immunoglobulin therapy that was done here in Dubai made it safe for Xander to enter the chamber and the hyperbaric oxygen therapy program that's hosted here at the clinic in Dubai. So then he started. And we expected things to happen overnight. But in all honesty, these things take time. You can't just come and expect a change in the body, a systematic change in the body to happen overnight. It doesn't work that way. So for him and the people that undergo this therapy program in Dubai, it is 60 sessions of hyperbaric oxygen therapy program, 5 days per week, 1 hour per day, at 1.5 atmospheres. That is the youth program at the clinic. Now, as I said, we expected things to change immediately, but it didn't. For the first 1, 2, 3 weeks, honestly speaking, nothing happened. Xander was himself. And then, on session 23, I remember as if it was yesterday, things changed. And still till today, it makes me very emotional to say what happened next. I co-sleep with Xander almost every night. And I always tuck him in, I lay beside him, I tell him I love him, I put him to sleep. And once he's asleep, I get up and I work and I have a conversation with my wife or do whatever I need to do around the house in the evening. So this night, I put him to sleep. And as I kissed him, said, X, and that's our pet name for Xander, X, Papa loves you. What happened next, I will remember for the rest of my life. Papa, love you. I got in return. And it shook me to the core. I was in disbelief. I didn't know that these words were inside him. I didn't know he was able to communicate with me. And I thought I misheard. But the joys of technology in this world, our house is filled with video cameras for our safety, for our children's safety. And I went back to my phone once Xander was asleep, and I played back what I thought I heard. And it was there. And that doesn't just happen. That was the beginning of the systematic change in Xander's world. Now, I'm not saying for the rest of the program he then developed speech and is now fully neurotypical, because that's not what happened. Then for a few days, nothing. He didn't repeat it. He didn't say anything. Then a couple of days later, he started reciting letters phonetically of the alphabet. A, B, K, D, all the way from A to Z. Like, never before did this happen. Wow. Who, he. Saying numbers. Not clearly, but the intent was there. He continued through the hyperbaric oxygen therapy program with the support of neuropsychology, with the support of occupational therapy, and things continued to go from strength to strength. Now, Xander's not, right now, fully verbal at all. He still has meltdowns. He still has sensory processing challenges. Even last night, like a meltdown like I've never seen before. But that's him. That's real life. And that's our son. And we love him. We love him for being unique. We love him for being him. And quite honestly, I wouldn't change him for the world. He's an amazing little man. And the fact that he sees the world through a different lens doesn't make him less of a person. It doesn't make him substandard. It doesn't make him disabled. He just sees things differently to us. And we accept that. It's not easy. It's very, very challenging at times. As a parent, you sit back and think, am I doing what's right for my other two children? Zola and Zuri. They are neurotypical and they're also magnificent little women. And I'm truly blessed to have an amazing family, Lizelle and Zola and Xander and Zuri are my life. Honestly, it's just amazing. And I'm truly blessed to have them in my world. But you wonder, am I giving too much attention to one child and not enough attention to the other? So I sit here today, and the scripted message that I was supposed to give to you is not right. It's the journey. The journey that Xander is going through and is on now is truly what's really important. His view of the world, and he has gone through the full hyperbaric oxygen therapy program here at the Brain and Performance Center. And he's also done the 3 days of post-assessment, where we've seen the amount of results and the amount of improvements he's had. Not only what we see with our own eyes, but what we can see from the data, the clinical and scientific data that has come out of his journey here at the clinic. So much so that we've repeated several of the cycles to be able to support him on this journey and help him to be the best version of himself. But all I sit here and say is, my wife Lizelle and I, that's all we want for Zam. We want him to be the best version of himself. We are so proud of his achievements. And all I can ask for in the world is this: that people have a level of understanding, have a level of acceptance. When you see a child at the mall, at the theme park, at the restaurant, that has a sensory overload and is banging on the table or is having a meltdown on the floor, it's not because they're badly behaved. It's not because the parents don't care. These people are people like you and I. But what they are is they are unique. They are people that see the world through a different lens to you and me. And for that, I can't fault them. Before I had a child that happened to be autistic, I was like that. I didn't know. And I'm ashamed to say that me personally, I was uneducated about this. Once you have a child who has a diagnosis like autism spectrum disorder, you become a student and you learn every day. You learn, you adapt, you experience, you create, you explore, you try new things because you're searching for an answer that you won't stop until you get, because you want the best for your child, just like Lizelle and I do. It's something that we will not stop until we have exhausted every opportunity for Xander to be the best version of himself. And all I ask of society is this: be aware, be understanding, be supportive. Don't be in denial, and understand that there are people out there that see the world through a totally different lens than you do. And I have the greatest respect for parents that go through the same challenges that Lizelle and I are going through. For brothers and sisters who are going through the same challenges that Suri and Zola are going through. It's not easy. And I want you to know that I hear you. I know that we all have challenges as parents. And these unique challenges make us stronger. And as I wrap up today, I want to tell you this: you're not alone. we felt alone in the past. But the blessings that we've been accorded and the wisdom that we've learned from this journey is that we're not alone. People who we thought were the closest to us don't understand. They don't want to understand. And that's for them. But all I can tell you is this. I hear you. I see you and your child. And if there's anything that you take out of this, is know that you're not alone. Thank you. Thank you to my wife for her support, my kids for their understanding. And the biggest thank you goes to the Brain and Performance Center, DP World Company here in Dubai. They've really changed our life. And as I said to you before, yes, I am the CEO of the clinic, but I'm also a father and a parent whose child has benefited tremendously from the program. I'm not asking you to reach out to anyone. If this resonates with you, if you think this could help your child or a child of someone you know, feel free to reach out. You've heard my story. I would only be too happy to listen to yours. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this very personal journey of ours. And I'm wishing you all the best of health and happiness in your lives moving forward. Thank you.